Union Army decided to implement these orders against Missouri women because they had reached a point where they really didn't know what else to do. They'd struggled to find and defeat the guerrillas in combat, and they realized that the presence of these disloyal women meant that the guerrillas could continue to fight because the women gave them food, they gave them shelter, they gave them fresh horses, they spied and gave them information about the movements of Union troops. And so they concluded that if they got rid of the women, that they could hopefully get rid of the guerrillas.
Letter 47, January the 9th, 1863. Dear Mother, we are all well at this time. I have not been home for over a week. Betty has been staying here for over 2 months going to school. I expect to move to my old home in the spring. You said my brothers would come after me if I would go out in the spring. Mother, I would like to be with y'all, but don't think it will suit for me. I think by staying here a while longer, it might be possible that I could get back something that we have all lost. I have friends here that won't allow me to suffer. Seems that I have the sympathy of everyone. Farewell, dear Mother and brothers. From your daughter and sister, Margaret J.
The Union Army knew the female relatives of known guerrillas, people like Bloody Bill Anderson. If you go to Washington, D.C. at the Library of Congress, there in General Thomas Ewing's handwriting, you have a list of the sisters and the girlfriends and the moms of these guerrillas. And so they became the first target of the Missouri women who were going to be exiled from the state.
Kate Donahue was married to James Donahue, who was a soldier of the South. She had 6 kids and lived near Hickman Mills in Jackson County, Missouri. On October 22, 1861, soldiers showed up to Kate Donahue's home, threatening to catch the house on fire. One of the soldiers said,
"I'm gonna burn this house down, and if you want to save anything, take it now."
Kate Donahue's little boy, who was 6 years old at the time, called out,
"Mom, I got the Bible!"
And that was enough.
Order number 11, I think, fell harder on women than it did on anyone else. By the summer of 1863, most men in the Missouri countryside were no longer living at home. They had either gone off to fight in the Union Army or the Rebel Army, or they had taken to the woods as bushwhackers. And therefore, women were continuing to work not only in their traditional responsibilities of taking care of the home and of children, but also assuming the responsibilities of the men who were gone.
Harry S. Truman, who was raised in Grandview, Missouri, had a grandmother named Harriet Gregg Truman. He was returning from war in his uniform.
The grandmother remembered the Civil War, when she had been a strong sympathizer with the Confederate States of America. She took one look at her grandson, clad in uniform. "Harry," she said, "this is the first time since 1863 that a blue uniform has been in this house. Don't bring it here again."
Why were women targeted? This gets to the idea of women being the basis of the guerrilla war. That if you could deal with the social network that sustained the guerrillas that the Union Army was having a hard time defeating, that this would be the surest way to bringing about order, if not peace. The guerrillas and the Union Army both said that they were honorable soldiers, honorable men. They did not directly attack women. It's one thing to say, well, I'm not going to shoot you, but I am willing to burn you out of your house. I am willing to steal your livestock. I'm willing to steal whatever valuables I can take from your home. And so in Missouri, you see the Civil War crossing a line, blurring a line really between what's a soldier and what's a non-combatant.
At current day 1409 Grand Avenue, tragedy struck and further enraged Southern men over the treatment of women. This tragedy is known as the Union Prison Collapse. Women had been arrested by General Thomas Ewing for aiding bushwhackers such as William Quantrill and Bill Anderson. On August 13, 1863, the prison fell to the ground and killed 4 women linked to the rebels. Bloody, Bill Anderson's sister was killed and another sister was crippled for life. Women were considered by bushwhackers to be off limits, and their deaths caused them to not be able to stand much more. 8 days later, around 400 bushwhackers stormed Lawrence, Kansas, and killed between 160 and 190 men and boys in relation. This left more widows and children to fend for themselves.
Letter 48, April the 9th, 1863. Dear Mother, there has been more murdering done in the last 2 months than has been done since the war began, and also burning and stealing. They would go to houses and take the men from their families and shoot them down like dogs no age excepted from boys to old gray-headed men. Makes me feel very lonely to see my friends having to leave me. Farewell, dear Mother, from your loving daughter, Margaret Jane.